Hey there guys, so let's just get right to this one. In this war we're up against AGT'G. They're a pretty good war alliance, obviously they're up in Masters. They're a pretty just consistent alliance overall. I met someone in there actually pretty recently, he's a good guy. This war is almost all Quake, so that's just a warning at the start, but if you don't like Quake, I would skip to about halfway into the fight until you see Penny Parker. For those who don't just want to skip to that funny fight, I guess just wait around and see. But yeah, this war, it went pretty well for the Alliance. You'll see the score at the end. It wasn't like the hardest war for us, but it had a bit of pressure going in. It was, I believe, this was the first war of the second week. Yeah, this was War 4. So we knew that we were in first place right now, so we knew everyone's coming for us. When you see first place, you have two thoughts. It's either, well, F us, it's over, they're first place. The other is, well, it's first place, let's knock them out, right? If you beat first place, you have a higher chance of moving up and stuff. So you have to always go in the mind with that. So, you know, we have to boost, we have to do everything right. This fight, I've taken it a lot this past couple seasons, as you've seen. It's that same armor node, armor turns to shocks on you. Don't hit them unless you're Quake, and you're immune, you just drop heavies accidentally when they have the concussion. This fight's almost over. Drop the heavy, because I see he should die. And that's it for my Section 1. There was just the one fight there, and I'm not assigned that Symbiote Supreme. I probably in theory could have, but that's not really for me. So this is going to be like the first Quake fight. I'm not really going to speed up because you'll see what happens here. So it's Spite Rise to Power again, as I've shown this node before. It's just a lot of power gain. You just have to make sure you don't dex. So with Quake, you can actually shut down the Spite's power gain if you trigger dex while they have a concussion up from your aftershocks, which is made easier by someone like this running max limber. There's also a simple style for this type of node, which is just parry heavy with Quake. So here's where I make a mistake. I'm holding block, and I think my concussion's still up. I try to dex it to get the Spite, and then everything just starts going wrong. I try to hold heavy to get the Spite off, or I try to launch a hit to get the Spite off. She throws a heavy, it hits me, it crits, it takes half my health. I've already used up my invul boost. She's at an SP1, so I'm trying to bait this out on the wall. And she throws another wild heavy, and my dex, or my evade doesn't work on it. I guess I let go. And I'm at 1%, and who doesn't plays with Assassin's Mastery, and the fight's over. And I took off like 10% health or something. I'm just livid at this point. I'm freaking out. This is kind of the fight I was talking about in the earlier video, where I was confused in the previous war about how I went from the 10 fights to the 4 fights, and then this war I was also at 4 fights again, and so I was kind of mad. Some things, like, as I said, weren't going too well outside of it, and I was just really busy and stressed out right then during real life. So some of the alliance mates in WhatsApp chat for the VG, you know, they were trying to calm me down, telling me it happens. Calm down, we still need you for the war. Backup for us doesn't really bring an option for fights like this. They're mainly for pre-fights, so I have to get this fight down. So here's the start, and I get my Spite off. I get the dex while she has the concussion, so there's no power gain. That is how the fight was supposed to start. So I actually took like 20-30 minutes trying to calm down in between these fights. And there was like I was trying to calm down really hard, and I was just mad. I was in a couple chats, some people were trying to help me calm down. I was just laying on my bed, just mad at myself, mad at the fight. So here I speeded up finally, because the fight's basically locked in at this point. If I let go of heavy at this point, I would just switch to parry style Quake. It's kind of weird. Most people find like parry style Quake a little bit easier, I find. But I learned Quake on deck style from watching, I think it was Moonosh's videos and KT1's mainly. So I never really practiced the parry style, so I don't do it too much. And yeah, I said easy because that fight it's not that hard as long as everything doesn't go wrong. And I said ja 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 because my BG is mostly Spanish, so I don't speak too much Spanish, but I can type in J's instead of H's. It's just funny, typing all English and then going ja ja ja. This fight, last season I took a similar Kingpin, the Kingpin on path 8, but I used a white Magneto pre-fight. This one I didn't have it. This one I almost feel like it's better to have the white Magneto. You'll see his power gain later in the fight actually gets pretty intense. My shock was able to stick early on there, twice actually, so I was able to get staggers up, so I want to try to bait out Unstoppables a couple times to try to get some MD going. So if you don't know this node, it has kinetic transference and aspect of evolution. If you haven't noticed a kinetic transference by now, that's a nice light backdraft. Light backdrafts are super safe with Doom. You're super resistant, and just like light backdrafts are pretty easy to recover from. I just had to practice them for a little while and I've gotten pretty good at them. So I was able to get the heavies off and the shocks, but the two nodes on this play very well with each other, with aspect of evolution giving them constantly more attack and power gain, and kinetic transference giving them power every time you block a hit. So every time you block, they get more power, they go over the power thresholds a lot, gaining aspect of evolution. And Doom is good for this fight because power control and damage and all of that. But the biggest, not a big issue, but a potential issue you'll see in just a second, is how much power he's starting to gain from hitting my block and from me hitting him. He starts to gain, he's gaining an absolutely ridiculous amount. Actually, not ridiculous. He is gaining quite a bit of power from a hit. Like, at that point, that looks kind of like you're fighting an energized node, not just like kinetic transference. So I'm trying to play it a little bit safe here at the end. I was just off of that Penny fight, so I was playing pretty cautiously here. The next fight I take is on the mini bosses. Right here was a little bit risky. If I had thrown a medium there. So I bait out a heavy. I still had the invul up, which is why I was willing to take that risk of baiting out the heavy. If you don't have an invulnerability there, please do not do that. I brought my torch only to drop this pre-fight. That was, yeah, you do your bit as an alliance mate, right? You use your energy, you bring the pre-fights, you bring it if you're asked to. I didn't need the third spot for anything else really, and for here, I had to buy the invul boost. I'm running low on that boost specifically, because I've taken like a ton of Quake fights, and I just want that for safety. Especially in a close war like this. It was close at this point. At the end, it's not as close as it was in the middle. Not some alliances, but once you're, we finished the map kind of quick, I think. They were a little bit behind us on exploration, as I think they're a mainly like European alliance. I'm not entirely sure, but the one guy I was talking to was definitely from Europe there, and their exploration was lagging really far behind a mainly American alliance, or not American, but like the continent of America alliance. So they were kind of behind. They were behind in deaths, behind in exploration. I assume towards the end they just realized like they already passed our deaths, so they probably didn't boost as hard, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But they played very well this war. They Masters level alliance, as I said in the beginning, they're a very strong alliance overall. I don't think they're in a pretty good spot overall, I think, this season so far. They're good though. So that'll just about be it for this war. We win this war. I'm not sure if there was any other key matchup that happened during this, but we won. So our alliance only had one death in this alliance war. So I was the one who ruined a perfect war for the alliance. I think the final score, it's about to pop up, I think it was 6-1, which is 6-1, which is a very respectable score by AGT'G. That's definitely not a bad score. Great war with them. It was a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.